Hello and welcome to the NDTV Dialogues. Today I am privileged to have as our guest a very special individual, the former President of India, one of our most senior and distinguished political leaders, someone who has a ringside view, in fact been a key participant in the political events of almost half a century of political life. Shri Pranab Mukherjee, thank you very much for joining NDTV and being on the program.
Thank you.
Sir, you are now Citizen Mukherjee, as you call yourself. As a citizen of this great republic, what do you think of the current political landscape as someone who is uniquely qualified to give his views on what the current political shaping of India is?
As a citizen of this great country, without having any political designation, I am enjoying the unfolding drama in vast landscape of this great country. For the first time in last almost 50 years, precisely 48 years, I am neither a member of parliament nor member of a political party. As a citizen, I have the unique position to look into, to observe, to reflect, and assimilate in my own mind how things are developing. As I developed a detachment from day to day partisan approach, not political, but partisan approach, I developed some sort of objectivity to analyze the things, to absorb within myself, internalize it rather.
Could you share with us, sir, some of the larger shifts in political landscape? Some of them occurred, of course, when you were president, but looking ahead now at 2017, when there almost seems to be a churn for central position. Who is the defining feature? Which party, which ideology is the defining feature of Indian polity today? In 2017, do you think the BJP is now what the Congress was many years ago in terms of they define the agenda, they set the agenda, and other political parties around it are just trying to play catch up in a sense?
No doubt BJP has emerged as an important political party, and as ruling party they had the advantage of setting agenda on which parties and persons respond and react. But Congress has not lost its relevance. The agenda which you are having today is essentially the inclusive India, which was set by Congress precisely by the UPA government led by Congress, Dr. Manmohan Singh. Inclusive development. In the story of development, we have seen various phases. Initial days, it was to create capital. Country was capital start. Thereafter, through planned economic development over the years, we emphasized on certain aspects at different phases. But one big improvement has taken place since Dr. Manmohan Singh removed the stranglehold of Indian economy by liberalizing it, reforming various policy framework in 1991. That has set the agenda that is broadly called reforms, which is being followed and pursued by all other political parties.
But interestingly, sir, the BJP under Prime Minister Modi has identified the term or the focus to be a Congress Mukt Bharat. And when we talk about the changing political landscape of India, we see the BJP again under Prime Minister Modi, now in states where we would never have dreamt of the BJP being able to unleash the Congress stranglehold earlier, whether it's in the northeast, whether it's the BJP as number 2 in your state, West Bengal, even whether trying to now make inroads into Kerala and the south. So, do you think a Congress Mukt Bharat can be a reality at all?
Personally, I do not subscribe to this philosophy that in a multi-party democratic system, we can get rid of any political party. Every political party has come to stay, play its role, depending on their acceptability of their philosophy, ideology to the people of this country. Therefore, as a political thesis, I think it is not very correct. But again, it is not my observation as a congressman,
Yes.
which I was. I cannot claim myself to be so because there was a gap. But this is I am analyzing as a student of history and politics. Sometimes some political parties, in terms of electoral battle, may be on the top, sometimes they may be at the bottom. Who could imagine that a party which got only 2 seats in Lok Sabha in 1984 could form government in 1996 within 12 years with 180 being supported by others. Therefore, looking at a particular point of time and to make a judgment in the perspective of that time frame perhaps is not correct.
You've, of course, sir, at your book launch and in your book as well, you made references to occasions when there were rumors or thoughts that perhaps you could be the Prime Minister of India, and many have described you as the best Prime Minister India never had. And in fact, I'll quote from what the ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said at your book launch, that you were better qualified to be Prime Minister, but he had no choice in the matter. Now that's interesting, because why is it that to such senior leaders like both of you, why was there perhaps not a more democratic decision on who should be Prime Minister once the Congress coalition was taking power? Why was it left to just one person to make this decision?
You know the history of how the government formation took place in 2004. It is true, we sought vote for in the name of Sonia Gandhi, the then Congress President. She toured all over the country, addressed innumerable meetings. People expressed their confidence in her, and Congress got largest number of seats. Not exactly majority, but largest number of seats, about 147. She was unanimously elected leader of the Congress party in the meeting of the elected members of Congress parliamentarians. She was also elected as the leader of the UPA, other political parties, RJD, DMK, TRS, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, NCP, etc., who formed the coalition. But later on she decided not to have the office of the Prime Minister. And thereafter the Congress parliamentary party gave the responsibility of choosing the leader. And I think, and I have made this comment several times, that she chose the right person. Dr. Manmohan Singh was the right person to be chosen to lead the country at that point of time. And serving under him for long 8 years, he continued to be the Prime Minister for 10 years. I can say with confidence that he provided the right leadership to the nation as Prime Minister. So far I am concerned, I have stated it on number of times that I have received much more from the people of this country than I have given to them. So I am content with what I have received. I served this country as the minister in the union government for 22 years. I had the rare privilege of being the leader of both the houses. Rajya Sabha from 1980 to 85, Lok Sabha from 2004 to 2012 till I resigned from the ministerships. I served the Congress party, being member of its highest policy making body, working committee, from 1978 with a gap in between for several years, till 2012. What else one can expect? Therefore, I got much more, and I am quite satisfied and content with that what I have received.
Listening really, sir, to that record and the number of prime ministers you worked with since Indira Gandhi, tell us in your perspective, who do you think, in the various prime ministers you worked with, you've seen as an opposition leader, who do you think are the prime ministers that have really stood out for you in terms of their contribution, in terms of their unique abilities?
No, I have not served with all prime ministers. I have served with mainly Indira Gandhi, P.V. Narasimha Rao, Dr. Manmohan Singh. Of course, I served under Rajiv Gandhi for 2 months, November, December, from 31st October 1984 to 31st December 1984, 2 months. But Indira Gandhi 9 years, as junior minister from 73 to 77, and full cabinet ministers from 1980 till her assassination. No doubt to me she was the best, and not only to me, even the various surveys which we found, even after her death, 30 years after her death, many of the Indians consider her as the best they had as Prime Minister. But each and every Prime Minister with whom I had the privilege of working have made stellar contribution to the country. Take the example of Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao. I jokingly, not so jokingly, but in the form it may appear as with a little light-heartedness, that he made it an art of indecision. Not to take decision is a decision. That does not mean he was indecisive. He was very much decisive. But sometimes he did not take decisions to avoid contradictions or to avoid controversies. Or he found that not to take decision is the correct in that situation. Therefore, P.V. Narasimha Rao, Dr. Manmohan Singh was a textbook Prime Minister. He gave liberty to his cabinet ministers to the fullest extent possible. Always took decisions which emerged out of consensus, which emerged after discussion as the decision, either in the cabinet or sometimes political decisions in the Congress Working Committee. These are of course I worked with Rajiv Gandhi, but I watched his performance. He was harbinger of the reforms. He dreamt of India of 21st century. And the technological revolution which I find today in India is largely his contribution, particularly in mobile and telecommunication. Therefore, each and every Prime Minister has made its own contribution. Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, he has a unique stellar contribution as Prime Minister for 6 years. Embodiment of courtesy. I have mentioned certain facts in my book. Not only he was an excellent orator, could carry the house with him, but his administrative decisions steely determination sometimes reminded the actions taken by Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Therefore, every Prime Minister has his own contribution.
What has struck you about Prime Minister Modi? What do you
He
think
has
of him?
the unique capacity to work very hard with a strong determination to achieve his objectives. This one characteristic I find in him. Secondly, he is clear in his vision, what he wants to achieve, and he works hard to achieve that. This one should remember, it was not easy for him. Coming straight from the state, not even serving the parliament even for as member for few years, but he grasped the intricacies of the administration, internal dynamics of Indian politics, foreign policies, relationships with the neighbors. I will just mention one example because I cannot narrate the relationship, conversations, discussions, engagements between Prime Minister and President. It is so privileged that even the court has no right to have any access. But one example I will give to you, when he decided and suggested to me, rather I had to approve it because he was yet to be Prime Minister, that at the time of taking oath he would like to invite the heads of government of the SAARC states. This was a unique suggestion, and readily I agreed, and we had the presence of Prime Ministers of SAARC countries or the representatives if the Prime Minister could not come. For example, Bangladesh Prime Minister could not come. She was away on tour to some other countries.
Pakistan.
But her representative speaker, all others came.
That's very interesting. And of course, sir, as you said, you were a lifelong congressman, no longer member of any political party. But now we have elections coming again for the post of party president. Critics would say, the BJP has said, elections in the Congress party are by name. It is an assumption that Rahul Gandhi will be the next president of the Congress party. Do you think that is a drawback in party democracy, that it's assumed that a Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi is the only choice to be party president?
First of all, whether Rahul Gandhi will be president or not, it will be chosen by the congressmen as per the Congress constitution. And this constitution is pretty old. Delegates of the Indian National Congress elect the Congress president. Therefore, how they will exercise, that is of course the internal matter. How CPIM holds election, it is the internal mechanism and constitution of the that party. Same is the story with BJP. Each party has its own rules, systems, way of functioning. And we shall always have to keep in mind when we evaluate Indian National Congress, that Indian National Congress, a 132-year-old party, has the tremendous capacity to learn, to adjust, to adopt, and always to rejuvenate itself. If somebody goes through the history of Indian National Congress, 1885 to 1900, 1900 to 1916, after Gandhi arrives on the scene, from then till his death, then these instances will be proved by facts. Therefore, before sitting on judgment of the internal functioning of a political party, we shall have to be little careful. If the Congress delegates who has been elected if they have decided to choose a particular person, who are the others to say, who are not the part of that system, to make a comment on it?